Hello, welcome to the Daily English News program in Azərbaycan Televiziya with the major developments of the day. I'm Gülər Çətamova. According to the press service of the president on January 18th, President Ilham Aliyev called President of the Russian Federation Vladimir Putin. During the phone conversations, the parties noted successful development of Azerbaijan-Russian relations and discussed future prospects of strategic partnership ties. The head of states expressed their satisfaction with the recent Russia-US contacts and stabilization of the situation in Kazakhstan and discussed the processes going around Ukraine. Presidents of Azerbaijan and Russia exchanged views in respect to regional security issues. On January 18th, President Ilham Aliyev attended the inauguration of a statue to philanthropist Hacı Zeynalabdin Tağıyev in Baku. President Ilham Aliyev erected a statue in Baku to another great Azerbaijani who has been involved in charity activity, who has done noble deeds, Hacı Zeynalabdin Tağıyev. Thus, the head of state erected a statue to the history of Azerbaijan, its creators and chroniclers. The statue erected by order of President Ilham Aliyev is made of bronze. The head of state then spoke with an also of statue people's artist Rövşən Məmmədov. Calling the opening of the monument to Hacı Zeynalabdin Tağıyev a significant event, the head of state stressed his great contribution to the development and improvement of Baku and the development of Azerbaijan in general. Speaking about the life and charitable activities of Hacı Zeynalabdin Tağıyev, President Ilham Aliyev stressed that many important projects had been implemented in Azerbaijan on his initiative. The head of state noted that Hacı Zeynalabdin Tağıyev sent hundreds of students to study in Russia and Europe and paid for the education. President Ilham Aliyev's grandfather, Aziz Aliyev, was among those students. The head of state stressed the continuation of charity traditions of independent Azerbaijan, and in this context he especially emphasized the role of the Heydar Aliyev Foundation. Noting that the Heydar Aliyev Foundation has exceptional merits in promoting Azerbaijan as a multicultural modern state in the world, President Ilham Aliyev said that as a result of the foundation activities, Azerbaijan is widely known in the world, and this factor helped us during the Second Karabakh War. The head of state also touched upon the significance of the projects implemented by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation for the restoration of historical and cultural monuments in the territories liberated from occupation. In front of the statue, relevant information board prepared by the Heydar Aliyev Foundation was installed in Azerbaijani and English. The Heydar Aliyev Foundation has also provided information in Braille on this board to support the integration in the society of those who have lost the ability to see. In 2019, the Heydar Aliyev Foundation, the Ministry of Culture, and the Baku City Executive Power announced an open sculpture competition to prepare the statue. Among the projects submitted for the competition, the work of people's artist Rövşən Məmmədov was chosen. At the time when energy security has become a matter of national security and the gas crisis is getting worse due to the reduction of reserves, Europe also sees the diversification of sources as a strategic issue. While for 15 years Azerbaijan exported oil to the oil world states since the end of 2020, with the launch of all segments of the Thousand Gas Corridor, our country has also become a gas supplier to Europe.
Pandemic-driven energy consumption is rising significantly throughout 2021 as economic activity has gradually recovered. At the same time, in the situation where most European countries are pinning their hopes on alternative energy sources, which in their turn are unable to meet their growing demand and have brought them to the brink of force majeure on the eve of a harsh winter. The European Gas Infrastructure Association raised their alarm back in October last year. According to the organization, the gas storage facilities of the EU countries and the UK are currently filled by about 72%. A year earlier, in the fall of 2020, the volume of gas in storage facilities was 94%. According to average calculations for a decade, as a rule at the end of September, gas storage facilities are 85% full. Against this background, the question of traditional energy sources has become relevant again. The importance of Azerbaijan, which for several years has played an important role in Europeans' energy security, is once again in the spotlight in such a situation. The importance of the Southern Gas Corridor is perhaps more visible in Europe now, because this gas crisis has shaken them to a great extent, both prices, gas shortages and the fact that gas storage facilities are not full. Winter is only just beginning and is expected to be very harsh. Therefore, the lack of gas will lead to serious complications. The volume of Azerbaijani gas is not so great, but it can prove critical for several countries, and of course, first of all, our interests are provided here. Today, Azerbaijan is increasing its role not only as an energy exporter but also as a gas supplier. It is no coincidence that out of the 45 billion cubic meters of gas planned for production in 2022, approximately 19 billion cubic meters of gas will be exported, over 8 billion to Turkey, more than 7 billion to Italy, and the rest to Georgia, Bulgaria and Greece. This is a large volume, and of course it will enable us to meet our needs as well as enter the European market with larger volumes. It is our project that has also facilitated the construction of interconnectors and connections between European countries, and work is being done in this area. Thus physically, that is from the point of view of infrastructure, we can deliver our gas to other countries, taking into account the fact that Shah Deniz has great potential. It is true that the approved volume is more than 1 trillion cubic meters, but I'm sure that there will be more, as was the case in Azeri Chorak Günəşli. According to the preliminary estimates, the reserves comprise 500 million tons, but its potential already exceeds 1 billion tons.
The state budget for 2022 envisages 2.2 billion manat for the restoration and reconstruction of liberated territories. Last year, 441 million manat was subsidized to ensure food security. This was announced at the meeting of the Cabinet of Ministers on food security and increased prices.
The socio-economic development strategy for 2022-2026, prepared by the Azerbaijani government, is expected to be approved soon. The main purpose of the new challenges is to accelerate the successful development of our country, to create a basis for the formation of a high social welfare society, and to ensure it. This opinion was expressed by Prime Minister Aliyev at a meeting on food security and increased prices. The Prime Minister stressed that in an interview with local television channels on January 12th, the head of state had set a number of important tasks before the government. It was noted that since the first days of the pandemic in Azerbaijan, comprehensive measures had been taken to minimize the negative impact of COVID-19 on the health and well-being of the population and to control the situation. Over the past 2 years, more than 1.6 billion manats was spent on COVID-19. It was noted that macroeconomic indicators increased. There was growth in non-oil sector, industry and non-oil industry. Last year, our foreign trade turnover amounted to about $34 billion. It was noted that price increases are observed in Azerbaijan for products with low local production or which are dominated by imports. In December 2021, the price of grain in world markets increased by more than 45% compared to the last 2 years. Last year, the government took a number of measures to reduce the impact of the sharp rise in food prices on Azerbaijan and extended the VAT exemption for import and sale of wheat, production and sale of wheat flour and bread until 2024. During the meeting, the parties also discussed the ongoing work on the reconstruction of the liberated territories, the construction of social and transport infrastructure, the restoration of a new international and regional transport and logistics corridor in the region. Minister of Economy Mikhail Jabbarov, Minister of Agriculture Inam Kerimov, and Chairman of the State Customs Committee Safar Mehdiyev delivered speeches. It was noted that the socio-economic development strategy for 2022-2026 covers sustainable development, the transformation of the public sector, the formation of favorable conditions for sustainable development of human capital, social security, digital economy, and innovation, and other important elements. It was also noted that special attention should be paid to the involvement of underground and overground resources, land, forest, water, and other resources of the liberated areas in the economic turnover and their reintegration into the country's economy. It was stressed that all efforts will be made to ensure the timely, high quality, and full implementation of all tasks set by the President before the government to ensure the sustainable development of the country.
New military facilities were commissioned in the liberated territory that the modular infrastructure was put into operation in Fizuli region. It was reported that all the necessary needs of the military personnel were met in the modular accommodation points built in combat positions. Deputy Minister Nizam Osmanov then attended the opening of a new headquarters building in the regional branch of Defense Ministry's Central Food Warehouse, where he got acquainted with the conditions created for conducting high-level military service, as well as the process of receiving, storing and distributing food to the troops. The Azerbaijani public representative sent an appeal to President of the French Republic, Emmanuel Macron. The appeal says that all Republican Party's presidential candidate in France, President of the Île-de-France region, Valérie Pécresse, accompanied by Michel Barnier and Bruno Retailleau, illegally visited Khankendi on December 22nd and secretly crossed Azerbaijan's international borders recognized by the world community, including France. This illegal visit grossly violates the laws of the civilized world at a time when steps are being taken to sign a peace agreement between Azerbaijan and Armenia, normalize relations and build trust between the two peoples. This illegal visit and attempts to turn this visit into two-level election propaganda aims to aggravate the situation in the post-war region deliberately and undermine peace efforts. The signatories of the petition strongly condemned this irresponsible step and called on the French president to take necessary measures to prevent such illegal visits and prevent such cases in the future, taking into account the requirements of the national legislation of this country. That was all for today. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.